Well, Pakistani Nobel Peace Prize laureate Malala Yousafzai has made a rare appearance in her home country. She is there to take part in a conference on girls' education in the Muslim world. The gathering has brought together local and international campaigners united by a common goal of making progress on the issue. Notably absent from the event are representatives from neighbouring Afghanistan. Despite promises to respect women's rights, the country's Taliban rulers have essentially banned women and girls from exercising their basic rights to free speech, work and education. Afghans who do take to the streets to protest are often threatened, arrested and tortured.
The images you see show what Kabul looks like most days. People go about their daily lives. There are sports and other activities that Afghans enjoy every day. But it's the women of the country that have become invisible. Multiple decrees over the last 3 years have forced women to stay at home. In a latest move, the Taliban have banned windows on walls that overlook areas where women are still allowed outside. They have also announced they will revoke the licenses of NGOs that continue to employ Afghan women.
We urge the de facto authorities in Afghanistan to reverse this deeply discriminatory decree and all other measures which seek to eradicate women and girls' access to education, work, and public services. No country can progress politically, economically, or socially while excluding half of their population from public life.
But despite the growing restrictions, some Afghan women are not giving up. In the outskirts of Kabul, this small carpet weaving factory has offered some financial stability to its women workers.
When I worked in a beauty salon, it was very good. The pay was also good. For example, we could earn up to $100 for a single bride. But here, if we work for a whole month, we don't earn that much.
And this workshop in the city of Herat has also employed some women, giving them a lifeline when they lost all hope.
I help my brothers to study. Because school's doors are closed to girls, I work instead of my brothers so they can study and do something with their lives.
But places like these are still rare. And for most Afghan women, their lives continue to be controlled and regulated by their leaders.
Farzana Bari is a Pakistani human rights activist and a leading voice on women's rights in Pakistan and joining us from Islamabad. It's great to have you with us. I want you to start, if you could, by painting a picture for us of what it's like life today as an Afghan woman living in Afghanistan under the Taliban. How have their lives changed?
I think, as you have already heard, I would say actually there is no life. There is a complete gender apartheid in Afghanistan. Women have been, I think, over the last three years, Afghan government has, I think, issued almost 70 different decrees and directives. Each one of that basically violate women's fundamental human rights, their right to their autonomy and, being kind of a self-determination. So I think there is a very strict patriarchal control within the public as well as the private life. So Afghan women are in a very, I think, difficult situations. Despite that, I think what I salute to Afghan women is the kind of resistance they are putting up. Despite the state repression, they're coming out and demanding for their rights to access to education, access to health, to work, and have some kind of a some kind of a control over their lives. But unfortunately, presently, I think the situation is extremely disturbing. Afghan women they've been thrown out of the public life. They are not able to pursue higher education. I think like a secondary or a higher education. Similarly, I think when it comes to their health issues, their women are suffering very badly because of it's not the priority for the state, particularly women's reproductive health issues. So I think women, especially pregnant women, lactating mothers, I think they are also suffering very bad.
And so engagement is crucial, but the Taliban have declined the invitation to come to the conference. What's the best thing that can be done to engage with the Taliban on women's rights at the moment?
I think it's, to be very honest, of course, first thing, what I think can work is basically, I think, lend a support to those voices within Afghanistan, those which are voices that putting up, resistance, they are actually claiming their rights. So all the progressive secular forces, feminist, voices, that needs strengthening. And I think as for the state, international pressure can also work in the sense, I'm not like saying that there should be some kind of sanctions, but maybe there could be some kind of incentives given to the, Taliban government, that if they invest on women's, human rights, or if they invest in women's empowerment, on their education and health, there could be certain, financial incentives that might work, because I know that sanctions hasn't worked so well.
Human rights activist Farzana Bari, reporting from Islamabad. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let's get more into this topic with our reporter, Beenish Javed. Beenish, tell us a little bit more what it means to be a woman living in Afghanistan under the Taliban.
Claire, if you're a young girl in Afghanistan, it's been 3 years that you have not been into a classroom. If you're a young woman in Afghanistan, then maybe you were in your last year of your medical college and you were very close to becoming a doctor. That dream has almost been killed. If you are a woman, and on top of that, if you're a woman in Afghanistan, you can't go to any public places without a man. You can't take a taxi without a man. You can't go to a salon, can't go to a gym. And you are subjected to constant decrees that further suffocate the lives of Afghan women. For example, in a latest decree that we slightly also mentioned in the report, Afghan Taliban have asked their people that they have to block or cover windows from where women can be seen. And they always have a justification whenever they come up with a decree. For example, for this one, the spokesperson of the Afghan Taliban de facto government has said that seeing women working in kitchens, in courtyards, or collecting water from wells can lead to obscene acts. That is the justification.
To keep them out of sight by blocking those windows.
To keep them out of sight. And all of this is having devastating consequences on the physical and mental health of women. For example, we know that UN Women says that the child marriage rates in Afghanistan have increased. And it's not, for example, we know that 9.6% of the girls under the age of 15 years
Wow.
got married. So these are the kind of consequences that we are seeing in Afghanistan.
Yeah, just take a look at those numbers there. Pakistan, we just heard, has organized this conference. It says that the Afghan Taliban declined the invitation to attend. Is there anything that could be done to engage with the Taliban on these issues and to convince them to give more space and freedoms to women in society?
So Afghan Taliban say that women's rights is their internal issue. So they don't like when human rights group, international groups interfere. They always say that it's an internal issue, and they have been for 3 years saying that we are working on it. They keep giving these hopes that, we will come up with a solution where Afghan women may be able to get education, but nothing concrete has happened so far. UN has conducted a couple of talks with the Afghan Taliban, even angering women rights activists and human rights activists, because UN says that we have to engage with the Taliban, but none of these talks have given any significant results in favor of Afghan women.
Now, we should also say Pakistan has its own major issues with having children out of school, right? Can you tell us a little bit?
I grew up in Pakistan, and it's right in your face when you're in the country. You see children begging on streets. You see girls working as domestic help in various households. I remember that when I started reporting a few years ago, I went to a small village in Pakistan, and then I was covering floods in that area, northern Pakistan, and I went to a household which were financially well off, and I saw that the girls there were not going to school because there was no school in that village. Wow. So sometimes it's infrastructure, cultural and societal issues that block education to millions of children.
Beenish, thank you so much for that. That is our reporter, Beenish Javed, here with me in the studio.